Welcome to People Doing Good for Others. Welcome to People Doing Good for Others, where we celebrate and honor and hold in the light and praise those who are truly making significant contributions in our communities. I'm Gary York, and I'm grateful to be with you today. I want to thank Wilkes Communications, RiverStreet Networks, and 100.9 WIFM for this opportunity. And my very special guest today is Tim Adams. We've been friends for, I guess, 12 years. I met him at Oakwood's Grocery as he was cooking and raising money for the needs of the community. He's a longtime servant at Tyson Foods. He's also involved in the Faith Fest, Oakwood's Grocery, and just a wonderful community advocate. And good morning to you, my friend.
Thank you, Gary. Very good, kind words.
I'm honored to have you here.
It's good to be.
You want to talk about growing up in the North Wilkes School District and maybe finding your way in the church?
Yeah, they were 5 of us kids. So my father, he worked all the time in the factory, and he worked at home too. So, you know, we didn't have a lot growing up, but we had the right things. And the parents took us to church and raised us up in church. And, you know, we had a good childhood, a lot of fun times.
So you went to North Wilkes High School?
Yeah, I went to Mountain View Elementary School.
Okay. And then from there, just quickly, what you might have been doing in your life?
Okay. Whenever I was in the 11th grade, I began working at Holly Farms Fried Chicken. They were fried chicken stores just like KFC. A lot of people remember them. So that's actually my first start at Tyson, because later Tyson bought Holly Farms. So I cooked chicken for a couple of years, and then I drove a truck and ran a warehouse to deliver to the stores in Greensboro and different places in Winston-Salem.
Okay.
So,
tell us what you do today for Tyson. You with them. How many years you been?
I've been with Tyson full-time for 45 years. So now what I do is, whenever Tyson bought Holly Farms, one of their employee benefits was to sell their products to their employees at cost. So I run the employee store, and we have a lot of products. See, Tyson is the largest protein producer in the world. They have beef, pork, and chicken. So it's a great benefit to the employees.
So where are you? Where is that store now?
It's on 268 above the college on Stoke Street.
Stoke Street. Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you have help there?
Yeah, I have. I'm really blessed to have some of the veterans at Holly Farms Tyson. One lady I have, she's 72. She's been there for 52 years. I have one man, he's 77 years old. He's been there 58 years. Another lady's been there 35. And then the teenagers I hired when they were teenagers, both of them been there 20-some years.
Wow.
So, you know.
So product comes in from being produced all over the country, just different brands.
Yeah.
And so the employees have a benefit to come in and get a real savings.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a great benefit for, you know, the community and the employees and families. Okay. So
how about your servant's heart? When did you commit to doing things and serving other people? Just tell us about giving made a difference to you.
Well, I think it goes way back. Before I started at Holly Farms, I was a curb hop at a place called Wayne's Place up on Highway 18. Big skating rink right beside of it. And so as a curb hop, you know, that's not nothing they have today.
Yeah.
But, you know, there was 2 outside bathrooms and they had to keep them clean
Yeah.
and going back and forth to cars. And I saw what a difference it made in your attitude serving these people. Some people come in real grumpy and everything, and I realized right then at 14 years old, I could make a difference.
That you were a car hop then?
Yeah, yeah.
And so you'd go out and take the orders and go in and they would fill them and you bring them back?
Yeah, that's right. And then later on in church, you know, like in Philippians, it says, have the mind of Christ, and said he took on the form of a servant. So if my Lord and Savior can serve man, you know, we can serve each other and bless each other's life.
How about North High? Just a little bit about, can you remember some meaningful moments there?
Yeah, I played football a little while, and I ran track, was teacher's aide to a lot of people.
Really?
Learned a lot from them. One individual, and to this day, he is probably the smartest man I've ever met in my life. It was Lynn Woodruff. He was just phenomenal at his knowledge of everything. He was a great mechanic. He was a gunsmith, made many prototype guns. He vast knowledge of the Native American people. It was just amazing the topics that man could talk about.
He's living today?
No, he's deceased.
Okay. There was Lynn
Woodruff.
Lynn Woodruff. Was he a teacher there at North?
He was a teacher, yeah. His son Rick Woodruff, he's been a public servant here in different offices.
Okay. Back to the Tyson store. Tell us a little bit more about people that, and an opportunity to help people as you do that every day when people come in, and I'm sure you hear a lot of stories of the struggles of people. Just a little bit about putting on a game, putting on a shiny face every day for people to maybe give them that little pump, the little need they have.
Yeah, and again, I go back to the wonderful employees, because, you know, it's not unusual over a day's time. One of them will take money out of their pocket and pay for somebody's chicken. We'll have people real upset, and we'll take them in my office and pray with them and listen to them, you know. And
do you really?
That means a lot to them, you know. And, you know, at one time, things have kind of switched now. We send all our product to Second Harvest, but at one time we gave 9 United Way agencies here in Wilkes County chicken every week for their food pantries. We still do some, just not on the large scale like that. So it's been, you know, God works things out to where you can have opportunities.
Wow. So you're the manager of the store?
Yes, sir.
And you had, did you say 4 full-time employees?
I've got 4 full-time and 3 part-time.
And the senior citizen, the years in service is how many?
Oh, probably a total of 250.
250 years.
Yeah, but they're a blessing, you know. They have a good work ethic, something we don't see a lot.
So when Tyson bought Holly Farms, that giving nature came with the acquisition of saying we're going to have this store here for as long as we're here?
Yeah. To my knowledge, that's their vision. That's part of their
the Tyson vision. Thank you very much.
Core values.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had someone just the last week tell me what a key role you play at communities and schools. Yeah. How did you get involved in that?
Well, it was, I think it was 93 or 94. At that time, it was Wilkes One-on-One, where that we found mentors and kind of like a big brother program for kids that were in trouble with the court system. At that time, we were in the United Way building, had 1 staff member. So that developed a little bit, but the governor come up with a program where that it was government backed, that it became communities in school. And the purpose of communities in school is for us resourcing for these kids. We go out and find different things that will help them and share with them whether it be faith in the church, whether it be eyeglasses, dance, whatever. And we mentor them through school programs to help them not drop out.
Stay in school.
Yeah. We supply eyeglasses.
So when you started with them, were you recruited or invited, or how did that happen?
I began as a friend of youth buddy, then I became a board member shortly after that.
Friend of youth and a lunch buddy.
Yeah, and you know, it's amazing. The Friends of Youth program, you spend 4 hours a week with a young person. And the impact it has on their life, you wouldn't believe it. I've had kids call me that I'd had when they was 8 years old and them in their 30s. And we have a lunch buddy program there at also where you go in and eat with a kid once a week at lunchtime. And the other kids crowd around, I want a lunch buddy, I want a lunch buddy. And I mean, it's just amazing the positive influence that half hour sitting eating with that kid makes in their life. It encourages them to stay in school and do good.
We have opportunities today if someone would like to join your group, but they could get in touch with communities
yes, sir.
and schools.
We are hunting for volunteers all the time. We usually have anywhere from 80 to 100 kids on the waiting list every year that don't get a match, don't get a mentor. And you know, we need all we can get.
So they call Glendora or Yarborough?
651-7830.
7830.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, you think you started in 93?
93 or 94, I don't remember, but it's close to that. And
all right.
now we have 18 staff members. We have eyesight programs for kids, dance programs, Wilkes one-on-one programs, lunch buddies programs. We have New Century scholarships where we raise money for kids in the 6th grade for scholarships.
Wow. And that carries all the way through high school if they stay in the program and have a scholarship.
Yeah, this year we had 6 went on to college. So.
Wow. Tim Adams, tell me about a chicken queue. And that's part of Tyson's initiative in the community. How does that work?
Okay. We go back to Holly Farms days.
Yep.
That was the big chicken cooking time. And one thing that I think is pretty interesting, we used to have the race here in North Wilkesboro. Yeah. Well, on Friday before the time trials, we would set up a pit, a portable barbecue pit, 120 foot long, cook 1,500 hides for all the drivers and all the people in the infield.
1,500?
And they'd all eat together on Friday. That was a special thing. So we learned quickly how to cook a lot of chicken, and then we've cooked for churches and organizations, communities in school, different people.
Tell me about learning to cook. Now, how did that, do you remember the first time you were involved?
Yeah, it was, we used to have a shaving department over here behind Coles, and they had a pit up there, and we would cook up there for different charities and all that. And I started out as a novice, and you know, pretty soon all my friends have gone on and you know, not able to cook anymore, but those I've learned with, you know, and you know, not a lot of new people are learning how. So, does it have anything to do with keeping the heat constant, or yeah,
how does a little bit about that?
You can't cook on a coal stove, so you get your fire hot and you turn it, and you know, we get about 3/4 done before we start putting the sauce on it.
Wow. So how long does it take to do a chicken queue, say from start to clean up?
It's dependent on the weather, the temperature, and all that. It can
Really?
take anywhere from 1.5 hours to 2.5 hours.
Okay.
So, you know, the wind changes everything, and dampness. So, you know, it varies.
Is most of it go on now over there on Cherry Street?
Yeah, that's where the most of it goes. There's a few Ruitans and churches cook at other different places.
Okay. So a chicken queue then is, for the most part, it's a benefit. How does it, tell me about the the communities and schools, the whole operation of what you sell, how much you charge for it. Just give us an idea about that.
Okay, we have a wonderful staff there. Those girls pre-sale a lot.
Now, what's in a pre-sale of what?
The chicken plate is plates like a half a chicken, slaw, beans, and a roll.
Okay.
And maybe a little Debbie cake.
Okay.
But they pre-sell them, and that way we can cook more and know we've got them all sold. So whenever they have theirs, we probably cook more at that time than any other time at the ballpark. We'll cook 800 or 1,000.
800
to 1,000, yeah.
and deliver it to the customer?
They deliver like maybe 12 and over or something like that, you know, and the rest of them pick it up at the ballpark.
Okay. And so how many helpers will you have in an 800 day? You're going to do 800 boxes?
We'll have 7 or 8.
7 or 8.
Yeah, yeah.
And you start at like mid-morning?
Start about 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock?
Yeah, we'll rack the chicken up first, put it on the racks, then lay the fire out and start it, and then load the pit up.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you do the leadership of, you're the overseer of the cooking of it.
Yeah.
Is that the way it works?
I've kind of grandfathered into that. We don't do near what we used to. I mean, you know, the profit's not what it used to be, and the help's not there. And
it's hard the volunteers are kind of a challenge to have enough volunteers to get around.
And that's something we really need to instill in our young people. Really do.
All right, let's talk about Oakwoods Grocery.
Okay.
And that ministry. That's where we met.
Yeah.
And I want you to just go back as far as you can remember and talk about Robert and Sue Rosati and the message of the Oakwoods message.
Okay. Any ministry has a vision and has a heart. And like you said, Robert and Sue have that heart. They will bend over backwards to help anyone. And there's a lot goes on unseen and unspoken. And Robert is one of those unspoken heroes. He really is.
Yeah.
And, you know, something will come up in the community, I don't care what it is, and somebody say, well, let's do this. And we all pitch in and do it, whether it's a breakfast, a chicken stew, chicken and dumplings, barbecue chicken, barbecue pork, whatever. And it seems like there's something going on all the time to help someone.
You know, the thing, Tim Adams, that amazes me is how quickly you can get the message out.
Oh, yeah.
The Oakwoods, how does that, it just kind of, just mention it and it just goes there? How does that work?
Well, I think there's like a network. And, you know, people know when something's going on that it's for a good reason. And, you know, it's if you've been out there, and I know you have, a lot of people hadn't, but it's just a little tiny parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
But when there's something happening there, people be lined all the way up and down the road,
Yeah.
walking for, you know.
You just put out the message, we're going to benefit. Does the message have a name to it, or just?
It's up to specifically what's going on. Like if it's, for instance, for the Shag Club, we would publicize it. If it's for, like we just had one here recently for a man found out he had terminal liver cancer. So we didn't publicize his name a lot.
Right.
He didn't know what's going on.
Right.
But, you know.
You know, you did one for the Elk and Rescue Squad.
Yeah.
That, unbeknownst to me, when it was over, gave me an $1,800 check, and I just in awe of that.
Yeah. So, you know, a lot of times the people, the recipients don't know about it. And then sometimes, you know, it's publicized.
Yeah.
We all, there's a network of friends out there that they all work together getting the word out.
When the system of wrapping and chopping, and give us a little idea, say a barbecue, how a barbecue works, Tim.
Okay. We usually cook about 36 Boston butts. It takes about 8 hours. Then
8 hours?
Yeah, whenever we get them cooked, we'll chop them then and put them in trays. And then that morning, we'll warm them before we take them out to Roberts.
Oh, you cook somewhere else?
Yeah, we have a place. I have a place up here, Mr. Gary Huffman.
Yeah.
His building. He's let me have the run of it, so I've got all kinds of cooking stuff up there in pits and everything else.
Is a pit ever inside?
No, you can't
You
because
can't.
the smoke.
Okay,
yeah,
so they
too
need to
much
be
smoke.
that's outside.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I didn't know Gary was involved in that.
Well,
Tell me
Gary's
about the Gary.
he's one of those unsung heroes big time. He helps in the community all the time with schools and different functions and things like that, like the golf tournament out here at Oakwood,
Yeah,
you know, Wilkes
yeah,
Central does. He's
yeah.
heavily involved in that.
Yeah.
He's involved in Faith Fest and big time in that, helping always in that. Gary is really active in the community.
Wow.
But
So
you'd
through
never- you'd never
the
hear-
Bojangles brand that he has, and what's really behind that's the servant.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
See, Gary and myself, we grew up cooking chicken in the fried chicken stores. That's where our friendship began.
Really?
Yeah, so it goes way back too.
My goodness, my goodness. All right, let's talk about a chicken stew.
Okay.
How about what goes into making a great chicken stew?
Okay, we have a 25-gallon old-timey black pot that Grandma used to do her wash in and cook in and all this. And
Okay.
first of all, we cook about 120 pounds of chicken. Get the broth off of it and then debone the chicken.
Is it breast and thighs or
Yeah, it's
dark
all,
meat,
it's
white
all
meat?
mixed together.
Okay.
You get a lot of flavor from the darker meat.
Okay.
Then we chop it and we add our milk and other ingredients and add the chicken back in there and cook it real good and done. And then
How long would it take to cook it?
You can
The second time.
the second time, about an hour or so. I'll just get the flour good and done in it. Yeah.
Okay. And the barbecues, it's at another location and brought back to Oakwoods, right?
Yeah.
How many people will work in one of those? I call it the 2-hour miracle. It starts at 10:30, 11, or 12:30, it's over.
There's usually 8 or 9 at least doing that because it takes a lot to wrap and deliver. They deliver a lot of those, so you don't want to stand around. You want to get it done and
Right.
get them gone.
In 2 hours, it's over. I mean,
Yeah.
from the retail part of getting it out to people.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Just a little bit more of the Oakwoods heart, the servant, about just that name, what it means, Tim Adams. Tell me some more about that.
Well, Robert, his location and where he's at, you wouldn't think he'd have a lot of business. But it's phenomenal because of the very reason. If you're in that store and in line and there's a lady in front of you gets a loaf of bread, he's going to take that loaf of bread outside for that lady. And everybody's fine with that. Because
Everybody's
that's
fine with whatever's happening.
That's his heart. Everybody is fine, and you know it's a testimony to all of us.
Yeah.
And you know his heart is so big, and you know he's willing to help anybody do anything. He says his key word is, "Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it."
Robert and Sue Rosati.
Yeah, great
Wow.
people.
And they met, I think, at the race, and were married 28 days later.
Yeah,
I've heard that story.
yeah. There's a lot.
Just meant to be together.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, we're at Faith Fest, and that's become an important part of your life. And how'd that happen?
Well, Craig Church, the founder, we call him the founder, himself, Randy Brooks, Randy Gamble, myself, we had a vision to do something to bring people together in this community as far as worship, praise, And we had toyed with the idea of having a festival, but we didn't know anything about it. And we went and talked to Ted at the college, Ted Hagerman, yeah, and he told us they'd been looking for another festival. So that's a good sign right there. So we told
he's
him,
amazing.
yeah, we told him whatever we'd done, we want to do with excellence. And they had the venue, they had the know-how. So we jumped out on faith that
They had the facility. All you had to do is just put it together.
Yeah, we had to put it together, get the artists. That was really hard the first year, because who, what, these big artists that's the best in the country, getting them to come to Wilkesboro to an outside festival. It was a miracle of God that he put his hand on it and pulled all the artists in here the first year. And it was amazing what God did in changing people's lives. And then the second year, last year, we were just overwhelmed. A month and a half before Faith Fest, Craig and I were in the car, and we have such a large budget, and we're sponsored by individuals mostly. And we were talking about how much we could get out of our houses because the money wasn't coming in. And then all of a sudden, boom, God started blessing, overwhelmed us. We were absolutely packed out, couldn't have had no more people there than what we had. But
tell us how it works during the day. What time does it start? And give us some idea.
The gates open at 1 o'clock. The concert starts at 2.
You're using the MurrowFest facility. Everything there's
same production, state-of-the-art sound equipment, everything, the big screens, everything, just like MurrowFest. And we have all the big tents. We have R&R tents because of the time of year it is where you can sit in the shade. And it's just like that. And then they have one entertainer after another one come and praise and worship the Lord. And it's just a family event. We have a whole kids area where they have games and different things they can participate in. It's just...
So how many acts or events does it go from one to one? How does it start?
We have 5 artists on the main stage. And then the cabin stage, we have 3 artists that spot while they're doing the changes on the main stage. So we have 8 artists, plus someone usually has a short message.
I'm really in awe and impressed by Ted Hagerman. How, when I heard he got behind it, wasn't that a turning point? Was that a turning point?
Oh, we absolutely were clueless. I mean, Gary, I'd done some big things at church as far as working with the Franklin Graham Crusade to Had It Boone as far as staging events outside. I'd done some bigger things. But on that scale with the security and the parking and all the details, all the rules you have to go by, it's just amazing.
It was a faith thing, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. We didn't have a clue. We just knew that, felt like God impressed it on all our hearts, and He did, to do it. And we have
just you and the evangelist there the first day.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, he went and met with Randy Brooks to start with and said, "I'd like to do this for 2019." Well, Randy Brooks says, "Why are we waiting?"
Who's Randy Brooks?
He's the owner of Gardner Mira.
Okay.
He said, "Why are we waiting?" And Randy kicked in a large sum of money before we ever met with Ted. So there's a lot of things came together there that God had been working in people's lives. We have a commitment. We let kids 12 and under in free. And last year alone, we estimated between 5,000 and 7,000 kids got in free. Plus, we had a special needs tent. We call them our special guest. We invited 100 families, and that wound up to being about 400 people.
Did it really? Special needs families.
Had their own tent. We bought their food, had their own restrooms. And, you know, tremendous testimonies came from that. And we're going to increase that this year. But I said that to say this. Our tickets couldn't support this because our tickets are about 1/3 of what a regular concert with 2 or 3 artists are. So we needed these businessmen with a heart come together and provide most
Unsung heroes that people don't know about.
I absolutely don't
Making
know
it
about
work.
But they have got behind it, and the ones we had in 2018, 2017 are jumping on again. Before you
When
even
is it
know.
this year?
It'll be always the last Saturday in August.
Okay. And it's bigger than any one day at Merlefest.
We had a bigger crowd last year than they said any one day at Merlefest.
Tim, what a blessing
Yeah.
you've been in my life. I want to thank
Yeah.
you for being here today and helping support WIFM and RiverStreet and Wilkes Communications. And the door will always be open for you. And you've just, what an inspiration to see a person who walks with God every day. And I want to thank you for that.
Well, I thank you, Gary, and I would ask your listeners to pray for Faith Fest. If all your listeners will pray, God will do even greater things. We are looking this year, our vision is for Him to be revealing His presence unlike the world's ever seen.
Tim Adams, sharing his experience and his hope and his faith for the good things in this community and for the success that he's enjoyed for all the times that he's aspired to matter he has and does and will in the future. Thank you for being with us. I'm Gary York with Tim Adams and the vision of Christianity and the ministry of making a difference in the lives of others here in Wilkes County. Thank you.